Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to the Livingston Parish Council meeting. We appreciate everybody being here. Tonight is February 27th. We starting a little late due to the finance meeting running a little bit late. So let's get this party started. Mr. Lonnie Watts, you have the invocation tonight.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we just want to come to you tonight and thank you for your goodness and your grace, Lord. We pray on us because we need you. Pray for everything that's going on all over the world. President, the Lord, pray for his protection. Lord, be with us here tonight and help the council be good and wise decisions. Because, Lord, we want to give you all the glory because you alone are worth it. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Mr. Marty, will you lead us in the pledge?
I will. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Sandy, will you call for the roll?
Mr. Mangus.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Watts.
Here.
Ms. Sandifer.
Here.
Mr. Shavers.
Here.
Mr. Erdy.
Here.
Mr. Coates. Mr. Coates is here.
Here.
Mr. Wascom.
Here.
Mr. Goff.
Here.
All present. Everybody's here.
All right, as a reminder, please silence your cell phones. Public input tonight. If anybody wishes to speak, we've asked that you fill out a card and give it to the clerks here. Due to the size of the agenda tonight, we're going to give everybody 3 minutes to speak. If you have not filled out a card and you wish to speak, you'll get 2 minutes. If you have any questions, we'll respond to those questions after your time has elapsed and you sat down. Presentations. I know there's a couple of presentations tonight. The first presentation is from the Denham Springs High School. They want to, from my understanding, they've won some awards.
Is it okay to turn that way too? Or? Is it okay to face this way also? Or? Okay. That's fine. I just didn't know the protocol. Thank you. My name is Mark Zweig. I'm a teacher at Denham Springs High School. I teach biology. And I've been for several years doing a contest with Samsung International that helps students learn to do problem-based learning, which is, I think, by far better than most curriculums that are offered in any school district. And there are schools that actually do this instead of teaching curriculums. And what it does is we look for community problems and we try to come up with a new solution that doesn't exist in the world to solve them. And the neat thing about this is that we looked around this parish and we came up with the idea that we heard all the news and everybody with their gripes and everything about Lake Maurepas and the issues with the carbon capture under the lake and everything like that. So we first looked at student vaping and we started saying, hey, let's look at that. But, that's a bigger, broader subject and it's not as community as what this was. And then we invited the parish president to our school, who actually came right in the beginning of the school year, which we were really blessed to have him and Brandon, his deputy, with him. And they came and told us what they've already been through and through the government and everything else and what you guys have been through. And we wanted to share with you our journey that way of how we started from the beginning with that. And then what we did was come up with a solution that we think is novel. We've worked with people from all over the world, people that spoke to the Paris Climate Accord, people that have been to the United Nations, professors from LSU, University of Texas, all over the country. We've had IBM, the CIC, all these different places work with us. And we've basically got to a point where we've developed something that we think is novel that'll actually make people feel comfortable. We've had people wanting us to get the people off the lake. That's not going to happen, not with all the money invested. You guys know that, and I know that. But the bottom line is that we found out that the people are the ones that are uncomfortable. So what we decided is we're going to create an app that's going to actually make people more comfortable by giving them information first, by testing water if they're scared, by all these different things, and let the students share all this with you of our journey. But I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'll start with our team. First person I'll introduce is Addie.
Hi, I'm Adeline Farrell, and I'm a student at Denham Springs High School. I'm the secretary of our club, and today we were speaking about our invention. And so basically, we looked around for a lot of different issues and problems within our community, and eventually we came across Lake Maurepas, which was a proposed site for carbon capture. And so we learned a lot about this topic through, we went to Southeastern, we talked to a lot of professionals there. We went to Turtle Cove. We got very informed on this topic. And then we decided that we wanted to make an application where residents of Lake Maurepas and the surrounding area could get more information about this topic, as well as feel safe and good about it, and just provide them with easy to read information about this and the lake's quality. We also, we just wanted people around this lake to have a sense of ownership and just really know that everything's okay. Like, yeah. So thank you.
Good evening. My name is Madison. I'm the vice president of our club. From the very beginning, whenever we were first working on this, we knew that we wanted to create a device on keeping up with the carbon that is in the water, but we didn't really know how to do it. So we finally came to the conclusion that we were going to create the device called Safety C. C standing for carbon dioxide, safety standing for we're going to make sure that it's safe for the residents in the area. With the water line, you dip it about 6 inches into the water, which leads to a tube in our cover, which leads to a sensor that will sense the carbon in the water and will tell you right away with a Bluetooth button that connects to our app that we are also making for this. And that's all. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Juan, and I'm a student at Denham Springs High School and part of our Denham Springs High School STEM Shark robotic engineering team. We wanted to make an app that would give people more security about their lake and their water systems. And through the help of our community and the team, I've been able to take part in an innovative solution to create an app to make people more comfortable. And our app has several functions, one of them being we'll have certain buttons to give people more information on our mission and what the app is about. We were going to have another button that connects to our device so that people can use it and test their own water and make sure that their lake and everything around them is okay. And we'll also have another section of the app which will give people information on the levels of the carbon dioxide and other parameters that are important for them to know, to give them more information and make sure that they're secure. With the help of our community, we can solve problems, whether it's just local or global, and we hope that you guys give us all our support.
Good evening. I'm Alexa Rodriguez, and I'm the most recent. Thank you. Hello, I'm Alexa Rodriguez, and I'm the most recent member of the Design Sharks team. I specialize in illustration, social media, and graphic design. And it's been truly inspiring to work with an incredible team of students helping with this project, and I'm excited to continue making contributions. Today, as well as our device, we are launching our social media page, Safety C app. By following us on Instagram and interacting with our posts, you can help build momentum locally and nationally for our project. Thank you so much.
Well, I'd like to also, they have, let's see, we're proud to share with you that we have been named the State of Louisiana champion in the Samsung Solve for Tomorrow contest. This achievement has secured a $12,000 grant, technology grant for our school, and as we advance to the national level, we have the opportunity to earn an additional grant prize valued between $50,000 and $100,000. Let's give these kids a round of applause. I know y'all went and sat back down, but y'all can come back up to the council. We're going to present y'all with a certificate, and we're going to take a picture with you. Yeah. Mr. Delat, you're in this too. Y'all want to go down?
We're going to face Kevin's.
Congratulations. Great job. That's all right. I go there a lot. Great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you for the good work.
Yeah, we're still going.
Livingston Parish teacher too. Thank you.
All right, we have one more presentation with Keep Livingston Beautiful, Miss Linda Gardner.
Got to get my helpers up here for a minute. I'll do it with my finger. Thank you. Good evening. It's nice to be here with each of you tonight, and thank you for putting me on your agenda. When I started my career with the parish last year, one of the goals that I had was at least every quarter I'd like to stand before the council and speak to them about some of the projects that we're doing in the parish, so we can all be transparent like our parish president has asked us to be. So I just want to go over a few little things that we've done in the last couple months. We've had some really good projects going on and a lot of partnership going on in the parish. So Clean Up Livingston Parish. You can contact me. I can give you a card, or you can look up on the parish website and get my number for any problems or any areas that need to be attended or looked at. If you have bulky items, illegal tire dumping, which we do have a lot of that going on in our parish right now, we're working on that, and it's going to get better at one time. These are our Livingston trustees that go out. They were going out 2 days a week for the last, I can't tell you how many years, a long time. But as of December of 24, we started in partnership with the parish, with our parish president and with our sheriff department, Mr. Jason Ard, and we now go 5 days a week. And the first month in December, we had over 4,200 bags of trash. And 23, we probably hit about 5,000 for the whole year because we were only out 2 days a week. So you can see now where 5 days a week has helped us so much. Now, I want to stand up here one day and say we only had 2,000 bags for a month, because that'll make us look really good, right? Okay. But I really appreciate our trustees and the sheriff's department for stepping up. And we've had some different companies in our area that have helped us. Waste Management's one that's helping. Lard Oil's helping. And we've also had a machinist company that helps with our 3 trailers that we have. And Mr. Art actually had bought an extra truck. So we have 3 trucks and 3 trailers. So these are just some pictures of things we've done. I had the opportunity a few weeks ago to go out with District 9, which is my district, but that's not the reason why I picked it. I went out with Mr. Doe, and my husband came with us, and we picked up trash for several hours. We had a good time. We got muddy. We fell down a couple times in the ditch, but we did all right. But after I was done, I said, you know, Mr. Doe, we're doing this the wrong way. He said, what you mean? I said, Mr. Joe, we shouldn't be out here the ones cleaning this up. We should be out here with our community cleaning it up together, because we're not going to be able to teach our community if we don't get them together and get an ownership in their areas, because we can't do it by ourselves. But it's really important that we stay together. We also had the Livingston Parish Detention Center help us plant 14 trees out in front of on Government Boulevard. So you might see those. Hopefully in a couple months, they'll be blooming a little bit. This is our Livingston Parish Master Gardeners. They all came in to help us out, and we had a great time that day. And these are some tires that I got a couple calls on in the first day. And we made one phone call. Our warden, Lance, Landry went out and they went and picked those up that same day. So there are a lot of people that are dumping tires illegally, and we're working on it, and we're trying to come up with some different ideas on how we can stop this. This is a pile of trash that we found in District 5 when I went out with Councilwoman Erin Sandifer. She was so excited because she was going to show me all these places that had lots of trash and stuff. But I will tell you, we were like laughing on our way back through her area because there wasn't as much as we thought. So we're thinking, oh, they must have been here cleaning this place up. So that's good. But I appreciate going out with Miss Erin, and I appreciate her taking the time to go out with me so I could see the areas that she's over. And I would like to let each of you know, councilmen and women, that I would love to go out with you guys or talk to you on the phone or to go out, with anyone or a couple of you. I'll even drive if I need to, so that's okay. But I really want to have a partnership with you as the council. I would like us all be on the same page when it comes to litter and abatement. This is a house over on Oma Harris Road in Denham. It's abandoned. It's a lot of stuff around there. It's abandoned property. I did turn this into our compliance department, and they are working on that. This is Black Lake Club Road in Marpaw. And if you look at the picture, there's something wrong with that picture. There are people that have tons of tires on a truck on their property, and then they have something behind one of the trucks that have more tires. Don't know what they're doing with them, but we do have our LPSO keeping an eye on that situation. That's the truck that's sitting in front of that house. Now, why would anybody want that many tires? Okay. These are some parish road signs that we're putting up on our parish roads. The no dumping. You can see somebody already shot that one up. But we are working on that. There's a few more that we have. Okay. And right now we're out talking to some of the elementary schools in our parish about litter education, and that's going really well. And I also got involved yesterday with the resource officers at some of the schools, and they're going to actually help us do that. And these are just some Livingston Parish signs that we can use. We can put on our Facebook or our social media, and just kind of drive people to, to think about keeping your truck beds clean, litter is illegal, and those kind of things. And these are some of the statistics these are last year's. So we did over 9,000 litter bags. We had 11,120 hours for picking up. And then we did 983 tires. So can't imagine what we're going to have this next year. But we have we keep our stats, so we have all that. We send it into the state of Louisiana, so they know what's going on and what we're doing here in our parish. And we're having a tire recycling day that you can drop off your up to 5 tires, because that is the law for DEQ. And you have to have a driver's license or you have to have your ID card. And our parish president's inviting all of us that have these things to come and help us get rid of those tires that don't need to be out there. So I just want to thank each of you again. And we did have a copy of the paper today. This is our partnership with the parish, with other businesses, and with the sheriff's department. So if you get a chance to read this article, even if you just go on and just read online, it's a very good article about the parish and where we're going and where we've been.
Mr. Chair, there's a couple times that we sometimes take people for granted. Miss Linda is one of those people that we take for granted. She has tripled her salary in grants and receiving grants back. In addition to that, Livingston Parish and Tangipahoa Parish are the 2 parishes that was picked out of the 64 parishes to be model parishes. Parish President Robbie Miller and myself, with the invitation of the Lieutenant Governor, is going to go out to these other 62 parishes, show them what we're doing, and see if we can talk them into doing the same thing. And I'm telling you, it all starts with this lady right here. She's someone special.
Thank you so much. All right, I believe that's the end of presentations. Parish President's Report. Proclamation to declare March 25th as a Flood Awareness Month. Miss Sandy, do you have that proclamation? Okay. Would you read it?
This is a proclamation, whereas the Amite River Basin has been substantially affected by floods in the past and can be expected to be affected in the future, and whereas some of the most devastating floods occurred during the spring season of the year, and whereas the citizens, communities, and parishes within the Amite River Basin have suffered substantial losses during these floods, and whereas the citizens and individual property owners should be aware of the measures which can be taken by themselves or through government to reduce the risk of flood losses. Now therefore, I, Randy Delatte, Parish President of Livingston Parish, State of Louisiana, do hereby proclaim March 2025 as Flood Awareness Month.
Do I have to do a resolution on that?
It's up to him. You really don't have to. If
Would you like to do a resolution on that, or you want to speak on it?
I would like the support of the council if that's necessary.
Yeah. So, Mr. Councilman John Mangus, what you want?
Yeah, I make a resolution for what with Mr. Delatte and Miss Sandy Teal just stated.
Okay. And Mr. Shavers, seconded. Call for the. We don't have to call for the vote. Vote on your iPad. Yep. Mr. Coates.
Yes.
Vote on your iPad. All right, and that passed unanimously. We did B with Miss Linda Gardner. We put her up as presentations. Number 10, Livingston, Mr. Delatte, you actually wanted to speak. Well, Mr. Robert Dugas.
Yes, sir. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think A is we need a resolution. The Burgess Road Bridge over West Coyell. We need authorization for the parish president to sign that contract. I think it's a 20% match on through the MPO. So just need that.
So move.
I'll second it.
All right, so we got a motion from Councilman Wascom, second from Councilman Shavers. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimously. Item B, adopt a resolution to add Vincent Trace to the Livingston Parish Capital Improvement Program. Mr. Dugas. It is
I need a resolution.
All right, so we got a motion from Councilwoman Sanford, a second from Mr. Joe Erdy. Vote on your iPad. Any questions? Okay. And that passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Randy, our President Delatte, you said you like to speak real quick?
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. I want to remind everyone that this Wednesday coming up at 10 o'clock at the site for the animal shelter, we're going to do a groundbreaking. I would love to see every councilman there with a gold shovel in their hand. We also have the state legislative delegation, all the senators, all the representatives will be there. All the news media is going to cover this, so it's very important to us to be there. We could all be there, and I appreciate y'all. 10 o'clock. Rain or shine, guys. We got it. It's going to be.
That's Wednesday. All right. Number 11, Livingston Parish Planning and Zoning Commissions. Item A, case 24-3-3-3-38-235 Walker North Walker North Road, Ag to R1, District 1.
Okay. It is the recommendation of the zoning committee to approve this based on the area as being single-family homes along Walker North.
Okay. I need to open that for public comment, do I not? Yes, so I'm going to open this for public comment. Anybody here to speak on this? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Leanne Evans. My husband and I own this property. We purchased it in August of '23, unaware that it was agricultural. Apparently nobody knew it was rezoned just months before we purchased it. We're just trying to sell our son 2 acres so he can build a house, and agricultural is a 3-acre minimum.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anybody else? All right, close the floor. Does anybody want to? Does any councilman have anything to say about it?
Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
Got a motion from Councilman Watts, second by Councilman Wascom. Any councilman have anything to say about it? Nope. All right, vote on your iPad. Ms. Sanford, Councilman Sanford, and Councilman Shavers. Yeah.
I thought I did, sorry.
That passed unanimously. Yes.
If we have any amendments, do we add them here, or does it come later?
I think that's later,
Okay.
what you're talking about. Item B, case 24-4-20245, Palmer Road, 2 lots, moved from SNB to R1, District 8.
Again, it's the recommendation of the zoning board to approve this. The entire area on Palmer Road is residential, and this little tract was small neighborhood business.
All right, I'm going to open the floor to public comment. Anybody here to speak for or against this? I'm going to close the floor to public comment. Council, anybody have?
I'll make a motion to.
Got a motion from Councilman Shavers.
I'll second.
Got a second from Councilman Coates. Does any councilman have anything to say? All right, vote. That passed unanimously. Case C, 25-01-27496, South Forest Road, from C1 to R1, Council District 8.
Again, it's the recommendation of the zoning board to approve this. This area on Frost Road is all residential, and it would be, this house or property would be placed in between single-family residential property.
All right, I'm going to open the floor up to public comment. Anyone here to speak for or against? I'm going to close the floor. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I've got a motion from Councilman Coates, and then a second from Councilman Shavers. Does any council member have anything to say about this? All right. Vote on your iPad. And that passed unanimously. Number 12, public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 25-1, an ordinance ratifying the action taken by Gravity Drainage District 1 on January 1st, January 14th, 2025, to renew the levy of collection of a sales tax and use the tax as well as approved by voters in the district at the election on Saturday, December 7th, 2024. Mr. Jim Ryan? He's not here. Will you read it by title?
This is proposed ordinance LP 25-01, an ordinance ratifying the action taken by Gravity Drainage District 1 of the Parish of Livingston, State of Louisiana, the district, on January 14, 2025, to renew the levy and collection of a sales and use tax. All as approved by voters in the district at an election on Saturday, December 7, 2024, and providing for other matters in connection therewith.
All right, I'm going to open this to a public hearing. Close public hearing. Do we have a motion to adopt? Got a motion from Councilman Mangus.
I'll second it.
Got a second by Councilman Shavers. Any council member has anything? Nope. That passed unanimously. 13, public hearing and adoption of LP Ordinance 2502, an ordinance to acquire immovable property for the Parish of Livingston Parish pursuant to the Flood Mitigation Assistance Program project number EMT-2000 or 2022-FM-003-0003, Livingston Parish, David Arnold at 30686 Ranchero Avenue, Denham Springs, Louisiana 70726, lot number 19, Lando Pines.
This is proposed ordinance 25-02, an ordinance to acquire immovable property for the Parish of Livingston pursuant of the Flood Mitigation Assistance Program project number EMT-2022-FM-003-0003.
All right, I'm going to open up for public comment. Close public comment. Do I have a motion? Got a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Open for public hearing. Nobody closed for public hearing. Got a motion from Councilman Mangus.
Second.
Got a second from Councilman Gulf. Anybody on the council have anything? Nope. All right. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimously. All right. Public hearing and adoption of LP ordinance number 2503. This is agenda item number 14. This is designation of a school zone located on Cecil Drive in Council District 2. I am going to open up for public comment, and Ms. Kimberly, can we read it by title?
This is proposed LP ordinance 25-03, an ordinance to create a school zone on Cecil Drive and Olivia Drive in Council District 2 for the Parish of Livingston as set out more specifically herein.
All right, I'm going to open this up for public comment. Ms. Kimberly, you want to speak after we vote? Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this? I did open for public comment. All right, I'm going to close it for public comment. I'll let you speak after. Mr. Shavers, Councilman Shavers, you put this on here?
I did. I'll make a motion.
Yep. Got a motion from Councilman Shavers, second by Councilwoman Sandiford. Does any council member have anything? No? All right, we're going to go for the vote. Vote on your iPad. All right, that passed unanimously. Ms. Kimberly, I know you asked to speak after.
Kimberly Brinegar, Watson. I just sincerely want to thank each one of you, to include Mr. Brad also. I'd like to also thank the school board, Mr. Jody, the sheriff's office, and Mr. Randy's office, Mr. Brandon, who has spent a little while speaking with me on the phone. Again, I appreciate y'all so much, and the residents do also. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, agenda item number 15. public hearing and adoption of LP ordinance number 24-35, rescind and reenact Chapter 117 zoning, which will include the adoption of new parish zoning maps and the adoption of zoning maps for the council district which do not presently have zoning maps. Please read it by title.
This is proposed ordinance. No, this is a public hearing. This is proposed ordinance 24-35, an ordinance to amend and reenact Chapter 117 of the Livingston Parish Code related to zoning of land to provide for additional zoning definitions and classifications, to enact zoning maps for council districts which do not have zoning maps, to amend and reenact zoning maps for council districts which have zoning maps, to update and improve the enforcement and administration of the parish zoning program, and to provide for non-conforming uses and require conditional use permits, create a zoning classification for landfills and hazardous waste, and establish a procedure for waivers.
Mr. Steve Irby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the benefit of the council and the audience, I was going to go through the history on this and what we're actually doing tonight to be sure everybody's understands. In June of 2022, the Livingston Parish started the process of adopting a zoning ordinance. At that time, it was using the authority that the parish has under its plan of government. After adopting the zoning ordinance, the parish adopted zoning maps for council districts 1, 5, 7, and 8. The map for District 5 was challenged in court and was thrown out. I want to point out that the issue there was that a plat had been approved for the property. A plat amends the master plan, and that's the actual problem with this. When the new administration came in, the administration of the council started the process of correcting and updating the zoning program. As was explained at the time, this is a 2 or 3 step process, which involves readoption of the zoning ordinance using both the plan of government and constitutional authority, with new maps covering the entire parish. This phase 1 was to stabilize development in the parish. Following phase 1, which we've sometimes called interim zoning, a new parish master plan will be developed. The current master plan was done in 2013 and is dated. After the new master plan is adopted, the zoning map will be reconsidered using the new master plan as a guide, and any necessary changes will be made. It is estimated that the new master plan will be ready in about July 2025. There have been many, many requests that people have made for zoning of their property. At this juncture, what we're doing is zoning the property in accordance with either its present zoning or the existing master plan. The property owners who desire to have their property rezoned have been heard. Those comments are being considered with the new master plan, and they will be addressed when we revisit zoning after we have the new master plan. So this tonight is to stabilize, which means we're going to the existing zoning and the existing master plan. It is the intent of the existing zoning, of the new zoning, to modernize the zoning ordinance, maintain the current zoning on property which is currently zoned, and zone unzoned property in accordance with the master plan. The one exception to that is if there was an obvious change to the new master plan that's going to be incorporated in the new master plan. There are very few of those. Tonight, this is the end of phase 1. The ordinance was introduced on December 5th, 2024. There is a very detailed advertising procedure that has to be followed to do this. The entire ordinance and notice of this hearing and notice of the zoning commission hearing was first published on December 12, 2024. And notice of this hearing and the zoning commission hearing were published again on December 19 and again on December 26. The zoning commission then met and they recommended approval. After the zoning commission action, this hearing was noticed again 3 more times, January 30, February 6, and February 13. In addition, there were numerous meetings with the public and interested groups. These meetings aren't required by law, but it's good practice, and so it was done, particularly since we are trying to develop a new master plan where people who want to have their property rezoned can have those requests considered by the parish in the framework of an orderly plan for the parish. You will be presented tonight with a series of amendments to the proposed ordinance. These amendments are basically cleanup. The first of the proposed amendments is changing clerical changes to the proposed ordinance. You should have those before you tonight. We don't consider any of these to be substantive. We did our best to make this simple. There were substantive procedures changes that were suggested. Those have been deferred. So this is just clerical cleanup. The second amendment set of amendments is going to deal with the properties that are currently zoned. One of the problems that happens in properties that are currently zoned is that you can have, people can have plats approved. The approval of a plat changes the master plan. So we have corrected that to the extent that we found plats, or that plats have been brought to our attention. Those corrections have been made. Now, that's to deal with the situation the parish got sued over in the case we was talking about. The third set of amendments deals with the situation where we have parts of the parish that were unzoned, and those parcels were being zoned. It's the intent to match the parish's current master plan. And so, if there was something was brought to our attention where the current master plan was not matched in the proposal, that was corrected, and that's what the third set of amendments are. So that's where we are tonight. Those amendments we consider cleanup. There are many people who would like to have zoning visited to rezone their property. Their opportunity will come after the new master plan. There will be another hearing. And the reason for that is when you rezone a piece of property, the surrounding property owners have due process rights to be heard. And there are detailed notice requirements for them. We did not want to initiate a wholesale rezoning of property in this. We wanted to do it in a hearing where the proper notices have been given once we've identified the parcels to be rezoned. And so that's what the plan is. Thank you. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? All right, Mr. Coates, if you don't mind, I'm going to hold up public hearing. Okay. All right. So you want to cancel your request? All right. I am now going to open the floor for public hearing on this. We do have some cards tonight. David Hensigan? Did I say that right? Yeah. It's 3 minutes.
Good evening, David Henskins. Just wanted to clarify, I guess, what the amended zoning was going to be on my property. Is there a way that we can kind of see what the amendment entails, so we can see if any changes were made? Or
where exactly?
So I'm the owner of Belmont Subdivision, LA 16. I was under the impression that a amended zoning was applied. Just wanted to make sure that the new zoning would be in conformance with the preliminary plat that was previously approved.
Sir, what is your address? Or your-
822 Harding Street in Lafayette.
Okay, thank you.
Is it? Okay. So I'll probably call you back up on this because I think we're gonna have to go through the
Okay.
amended
Sure.
stuff. Yeah, you're on.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
stuff is on the list.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay.
He's in District 6.
So I'm gonna close the public comment for right now, and then we're gonna go through the amendments, and then I'll open for public comment. Ms. Caroline, can you read the amendment number 1? Yes.
Okay.
All the proposed amendments for amendment 1.
Yes. A, an amendment is proposed to remove vegetable and flower gardens as a use separate from growing crops and remove use for residential zones to avoid confusion. This use will continue to be allowed in residential districts as an inherent accessory use. As such, the amendment removes vegetable and flower gardens from all residential zoning districts as a primary and accessory use. B, an amendment is proposed to add clarifying language under section 117-125 for the definition of minor utility to specify that only neighborhood scale electric substations are allowed in minor utilities. The specific language defining neighborhood scale electric substations was also added. C, an amendment is proposed to add clarifying language under section 117-125 for the definition of clinics to specify facilities that offer outpatient medical, dental, psychiatric, and other health-related services. The definition for hospital, also in section 117-25, was modified to explicitly exclude clinics. D, an amendment is proposed to remove microbreweries as an example of manufacturing of articles to be sold on the premises from mixed use in section 117-206. E, an amendment is proposed to remove hospitals as an allowable use in small neighborhood business in section 117-226. Clinics remain as an allowable use. F, an amendment is proposed to add retail business whose primary revenue is derived from the sale of alcohol and/or tobacco to small neighborhood business as a conditional use in section 117-226. G, an amendment is proposed to re-add the previously stricken multifamily housing to mixed use as a permitted primary use in section 117-206. Usable space for mixed-use development plan shall have a maximum of 40% dedicated to residential. H, an amendment is proposed to add business services to mixed use as a permitted primary use in section 117-206. I, an amendment is proposed to add house of worship as a permitted primary use in all districts with the exception of the heavy industrial district. J, an amendment is proposed to add clarifying language under section 117-125 for the definition of a warehouse and distribution center, clarifying that small-scale distribution centers are those with 50,000 gross square feet of area per lot or less, and large-scale distribution centers are those with greater than 50,000 gross square feet of area per lot. Small-scale distribution centers were added as a permitted primary use of the light commercial district. Clarifying language was also added to commercial, light industrial, and heavy industrial to state that small and large-scale distribution centers are allowed as permitted primary uses. K, an amendment is proposed to add clarifying language under section 117-125 for the definition of major utility to specify that telecommunication towers' dimensions are described in section 130-1 of the Livingston Parish Code of Ordinances. L, an amendment is proposed to remove major utilities from permitted primary use and mixed use, and add major utilities as a conditional use in mixed use. M, an amendment is proposed to remove language under section 117-125 for the definition of filling station and replace the convenience store with gas. For improved clarity, The definition for convenience store was also amended to clarify that convenience stores without gas shall not include fuel pumps. The definition of gas stations has been revised to refer to the definition convenience stores with gas. An amendment is also proposed to replace filling stations with convenience stores with gas in Ag. R5, mixed use PUD, small neighborhood business, C1, to add without gas to convenience stores to match new definitions under Ag, R1, R1.5, R2, R3, R4, R5, mixed use PUD, small neighborhood business, C1, and RR. N. An amendment is proposed to modify the definition of commercial parking lots and garages in section 117-125 to include commercial parking and storage of boats in addition to automobiles. It is also proposed to add commercial parking lots and garages as an allowed use to riverfront residential, which is RR. O, an amendment is proposed to modify section 117-275 airport to clarify that the regulations in this section are a zoning district rather than a zoning overlay. This was requested by the Airport Commission to meet FAA compliance. The geographic area referenced by the APT zoning district is unchanged.
Thank you. So, Ms. Sanders, there's 3 different amendments to this. Do I need to do each amendment separately? Yeah. So we're doing this one first. So I'm going to actually open this portion up for public comment. I'm not public hearing, public comment, public hearing, this portion for the amendments. Does anybody have anything?
I have some names. Was David done?
David, for this portion specifically?
Yeah.
Okay, David Dunn?
No, David, the guy that came up.
Oh, I don't know. We don't know which one.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we'll come back.
So if you have a card,
Just say yes or no. if you
just
wanna
say
talk.
if you want to speak. Just say yes or no.
Eric Tong.
Do you want to speak on this portion? Oh, okay.
Okay. Stacy Milton. Wade Milton. Craig Corey. Sarah Ferris. Tom Easterly. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to close for public comment. I'm going to open it up to the council. Does anybody on the council have anything?
Is this just the amendments at this time?
This is just the amendments at this
Okay.
time. Absolutely.
Real quickly, I just wanted to say one thing. This process is very confusing, and on the amendments, one of the ones that I thought was interesting was we talked about the uses of primary uses for a garden, and I took umbrage to the fact that it said that you couldn't have a garden in your residential. Okay, it doesn't mean that. It just took it out of the use as the primary use, but everybody can still have a flower garden or a vegetable garden. So if the president says he wants a victory garden, we can do that. It's not illegal. Just wanted you to know that. It confused me, so just wanted you to know.
I'll make a motion to adopt those changes and those amendments if there's a.
All right, okay. Ms. Sandifer's got a question. No, just right, Ms. Sanford.
Can you come explain these amendments? Why aren't we adopting, rescinding and, let me look at the agenda, so I have the right wording here. Rescinding and reenacting 117 first, and then making the amendment.
On December the 5th, there was a proposed ordinance that was introduced. The language of that proposed ordinance is what is being amended by this. In other words, it's already pending in front of the council.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question? Okay. So I have a motion by Councilman Wascom, second by Councilman Mangus. Vote on your iPad on all the amendments. We're voting on all the amendments as read. Oh, A through O.
Which agenda item?
This is item number, this is 15, and this is the first amendment. This is the the language.
The reason I'm asking, I don't see that on the agenda. Okay. Rescind and reenact chapter 117. I know, but what I'm saying is that's not on the agenda. Do you understand what I'm saying? The agenda item is to rescind and reenact 117, but we're amending it before we rescind and... Help me.
No, I understand what you're saying. I do.
Yeah.
Everything, all of this went through planning and zoning in that department, and so we had nothing to do with this. And so I don't know what the intent was to have it on here and what the plan was. I read the agenda as it's given to me. I review it ahead of time.
Can we, because it's not on the agenda, can we amend it?
Well, I don't want to overstep my boundary here, and y'all are amending zoning.
The proposed ordinance is on the agenda. This is exactly the same situation as any other ordinance that is introduced, and the council has discussions and somebody wants to make an amendment to the proposed ordinance. That's all this is an amendment to the proposed ordinance. What is on the agenda is the entire zoning ordinance, and so it is on the agenda, and you can make the amendment to the proposal or not.
Do we have to accept the proposal first before we make the amendment?
Yes, you have to vote if there is a proposed amendment. The proposed amendment is not to the law itself. The proposed amendment is to the ordinance, the proposed ordinance that was introduced, to put it in final form so that it can be voted on. That's what this is. So it is on the table. This does not change the law. This changes the proposed change of the law that's under consideration to the extent of these administrative amendments.
Okay, I just have to say it. The amendments are not on here, and I'm very nervous about this vote. That's why I'm asking. I need you to just shoot me straight, because I don't see it on here.
There's no violation of the open meetings law in terms of these amendments. They are correctly presented to you, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Chairman, just to make sure that I'm clear, this is only for the amendments. This is not for the zoning itself.
This is just for the amendments on number 1.
Gotcha.
That passed unanimously. Map corrections for parcels with established zoning. This is Amendment 2 with WSP recommendations. Caroline, can you read that?
Amendment 2. An amendment is proposed to correct the map to reflect the current legal zoning designation for all parcels in District 1, 7, and 8. Previous recommendations introduced December 5th, 2024, proposed zoning designations for 3,067 parcels that did not represent their current legal zoning. The amendment replaces the proposed zoning designations for these 3,067 parcels where zoning was previously established in 2022, including 707 parcels that were previously in Districts 1, 7, and 8 when zoning was legally established.
All right, so I'm going to open for public hearing as well for this.
Tom Easterly?
He said no.
Oh. Sarah Ferris?
She said no.
Craig Corey?
My name's Craig Corey. I'm a civil engineer in Monroe and Corey, representing Coastal Process, who currently owns property on James Chapel Road. They had a look at the new zoning map and noticed that their existing buildings that they have are going to be zoned residential, and they're concerned about that. But they've also bought property across the street, which previously, I know it wasn't adopted, but was shown as zoning C2. But now is going to be shown as residential and agricultural. And they bought the property with intent to develop it. And so we're just trying to see if y'all could just correct the zoning for the existing buildings that are commercial right now, and then allow us to also have his property across the street zoned like it was shown before.
What district is this?
That's me.
So
Currently not zoned, but it was shown as zoned when he bought the property. It was shown on the website as C2.
Yes, I met with them last week, and he's correct in what he said.
That's just a That's just a recommended zoning. Mr. Landry, can you explain that to him? Nathan. Sorry, Nathan.
So I don't want to speak specifically about a property. I'm not sure which property this is, but if there are zoning designations that are already established in District 1, 7, and 8, and I want to remind y'all that there are, as Caroline read, over 700 parcels that used to be in those districts and had zoning established. If this parcel is one of those situations, there is a different legal process that could be followed to change the zoning. I just can't speak to the opinion on this property or this process, but we can look into that. And if there is legal zoning on the property, I would say that the proper procedure would not to be to take action.
Well, you're District 9, correct?
Legally, it wasn't zoned anything.
Yeah, it's not zoned, so
And again,
it's recommended zoning.
There's more than 300 parcels that are in District 9 that do have an established legal zoning, so I just don't feel comfortable giving it right at this podium.
Mr. Irving, do you have?
This is preliminary. I don't think this piece of property is in this amendment at all. I think that this is actually a comment for the global adoption of the zoning ordinance after all the amendments. There's only a handful of properties that this amendment applies to. I can read you the ones that that this applies to. There's parcels, there are two parcels, 125435, 125435A.
I don't need you to read that right now. I don't know what parcel that you have. I don't. This is open your.
From what I understand, sir, is if zoning gets approved tonight and it's not zoned the way he wishes, he can free of charge apply to have it zoned.
Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. So, and also from what I understand, if you were using it, the land use is different than zoning. If it continues being used in that way, whether it's R1 and it's been commercial, it can still be used that way. It can even be sold as long as it's continued to be used that way.
Non-conforming use.
Yes. So we'll make it right. I'm not saying trust me. I'm just saying we'll make it right.
It has always been the intent to deal with issues like that when it comes up again.
Thank you.
Wade Milton.
Wade Milton, would you like to speak at this time? We're on Amendment 2.
Eric Tong. This is about 1, 7, and 8.
This is 1, 7, and 8. What district are you in, sir? Yeah, you can come up and speak. State your name.
Oh, it's on. So my name is Eric Tong. I'm at 14075 Middle Settlement Trace in Port Vincent, Louisiana, in District 8. But also my mom and dad stay in District 5 in the plantation estates in Denham. So I spent a lot of time last night looking at the maps of the proposed zones, and still I think a lot of it, the density that's allowed is too big. Like looking at French Settlement, Port Vincent, there really shouldn't be any garden homes, anything that's more dense than the rural residential. I mean, I commute from Port Vincent to BR every single day. I drive up 4H Club Road. And a lot of what's still on the maps, I mean, we're adding 700 homes to French Settlement. We're adding more and more subdivisions on 4H Club Road. That not only takes away from like the natural appeal of the area, like all the traffic that's going to be added to it. And it's not good for our quality of life. And I mean, if we want to live in a high dense area, we'd be living in Baton Rouge or New Orleans, not here. And honestly, I mean, looking at more into the map across the parish, I don't think there should be a less, the focus should be on low density developments. I mean, the survey talks about low income housing and mixed use. I don't think we need any more of that in Livingston Parish at all. I mean, I understand in terms of the low income housing thing, there are people like in their neighborhoods who do fall hard times. They should be taken care of. But when we're expanding low income housing, high density development, that's going to attract more people from outside the parish. And that kind of a lot of renters, and that might not be good for economically. I mean, we're talking about people who rent, people who may not contribute economically, who might be a drain on our system. And on the federal level, I mean, I support President Trump. I think he's done a tremendous job, but we don't know what the future holds. I mean, the more high-density developments that we have, like the ones in Denham, the more possibility the feds could one day force illegal immigrants, refugees on our community. And that's certainly not in our best interest at all. And so in general, I'm concerned about, I'm glad the zoning is being adopted. I think every part of this parish does need some kind of ordinance to maintain a quality of life. But just in conclusion, I think the density is still a little bit too high in some of these places. We need to make sure that our law enforcement, our schools, our roads can still keep up. Because I mean, you go to Jubilee Crossing, you go to the whole Denham, library area. I mean, it's a gridlock. I mean, basically all day. It's like rush hour, like 24/7 almost. It feels like. So I think we need to do what's best. I mean, for people, for those of us like, who are citizens, who are residents of this parish right now. And I just want to make sure that that's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, where are you from? What district?
District 8. So my address is Port Vincent / Denham, but I'm in Old Mill Settlement, so that's that corner that's actually mapped out into District 8.
Okay.
So we used to be, I think, 6, but that got changed around recently.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
David Henskin.
Not at this time. All right, is there anybody else that would like to speak on behalf of Amendment 2? All right, I'm going to close the floor for public comment. Councilman, is there anybody that would like to speak on behalf of Amendment 2? Mr. Coates.
So I appreciate your comments. I'm the councilman for District 8, and I know exactly where you're talking about, where you live. I feel that the residents of District 8 have been short-sighted in this process, and I want to explain why I feel that way. And I'm not against zoning. I am just like the gentleman who just came up. I'm against strictly dense zoning, which seems to be coming to District 8 hot and heavy. First of all, the maps that any residents that attended any of the meetings were told, you're in District 8, District 8 is zoned, we can do nothing for you. You have to go through the process once we do all of our zoning and get our zoning set in place. All right, now, those people took time out of their day to come and interject their own opinions into the government, and were told that they were not allowed to do so. I even put out things on social media telling them, hey, come to the meetings, and talk, and then they were told such things. So after that, I started telling them, these districts are zoned. We're not going to be able to change anything on that. So let's just make that known so there's a process after we get the zoning in place. However, very recently, today, I pulled up the ordinance from 2022 that showed zoning, and this is the boundary in 2008. I know it's going to be difficult to see that far out, but it comes right down here and it comes out this way, comes back, and it's all this area within the 8. You don't see much in there except for green, which is agriculture, and you see a lot of blue, which is unclassified. Okay? So I found this today as part of that ordinance. Okay, so this is the area that is zoned, which is much smaller than what the boundaries of the district were at that time. So what that leads me to have a problem with is that these residents were not allowed to come and speak about the zoning in their areas. During the campaign, I talked to a lot of people, and just like you, sir, that sentiment was rampant through District 8. We want to stay with our culture intact. We don't want massive growth in our area. However, it appears that is what we are doing. And I'll be honest, I wasn't contacted much to determine what kind of zoning we were going to be using in this area. So for those reasons, I would like to get some clarification. There's some other things also, unclassified designations seem to be a designation to me. So if we're going to take an unclassified designation and we're going to give it a designation, what is the difference if it's classified R1 or if it's classified unclassified? Either way, it's a classification. That might be a problem in the future. The residents all right, so I just feel that we should push this off at least a couple weeks to give my residents an opportunity to come and speak with those who are making these decisions and to determine what kind of zoning they want in their areas. I'm not against zoning. I just want to do it right, and I think that the people's voices have a big part in that. We just went through a huge lawsuit dealing with this same type of issue And it seems to me that it was on procedural items, you know, not being properly advertised and things of that nature. Now, I'm not saying that that's happened here, but what I'm saying is people didn't have an opportunity to speak. And if we're going to a system of parish-wide zoning, I would hate for that to be a prescription issue that we could be attacked on. I just say, you know, I'd ask my council members, let's err on the side of caution and give proper time, another 2 weeks, have a couple meetings, and allow this thing to be done correctly so we can't be attacked on it later.
All right. There are detailed procedural requirements for the hearing tonight in terms of the notices that have to be done. It has to, under the state procedures, which we're trying to follow, it has to be predicated by a consideration by the Planning Commission. There are very specific advertising requirements for the Planning Commission. There are very specific advertising requirements for this consideration, all of which has been done. There is serious consideration or serious concern that
I don't want to interrupt you, Mr.
Sure.
Irvin, but what, did the planning and zoning have this information when they made their decision? Because I've talked to 2 planning and zoning members today, and I was trying to talk to more, but I just didn't have the time. However, both of those said that probably would have affected their vote.
Well, I can't speak to what they said. The zoning map that goes with this was before the Planning Commission, which shows the proposed zoning for District 8 and all the other districts in the parish. As I indicated, this particular zoning that we're doing tonight is to stabilize things. It is intended to track the existing master plan. If there is a zoning, in other words, if a piece of property has been zoned or had a plat approved, that's a change to the zoning, and we've tried to follow that. In other words, we've tried to be as conservative as possible to avoid any legal challenge. This is the number one thing that we've done. Everything we've done is to try to avoid any legal challenge. The due process right when property is rezoned, actually the main part of that is notice to the surrounding property owners so that they are notified and they get an opportunity to come in and speak their piece about the rezoning, the proposed rezoning, and there are notice requirements to them specifically and with signage and everything. So what we tried to do tonight was to make it as absolutely vanilla as possible. Yes, there are concerns. There are many, many concerns of the kind that you just heard. They have been heard and are being heard as a part of the development of the master plan for the parish. If you want to have a defendable zoning law that does what they want to do, what you need to do is to have a detailed master plan that addresses those specific areas so that the zoning is based on consideration of the public health and safety. That's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're trying to put before you. So there will be an opportunity for the consideration of the issues that he's discussed and some of the others. It will be in the master plan process. It will come back before you with the new master plan. The notices to the surrounding property owners will be given in connection with that hearing, and you'll have an opportunity to reconsider the zoning of those properties at that time with a basis to act, which is going to be the new master plan. That is our intent. We are trying to protect the people of this parish with zoning and make it as bulletproof as we can. And that's just what we're trying to do. Sure.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something to piggyback on what he said? It's just the first phase, y'all. There's plenty more opportunities that we got to change the zoning. For 12 years, we've been doing this, and there's always been 1 or 2 people that said, you know, I'm for zoning, but I want to slow down. I want to stop. What has happened is because of the key procedure for zoning, the advertising is very critical. So there is a place to have some liability, like Mr. Coates has mentioned. That liability is you can't kick that can down the road unless you got a reason to kick it down the road. For 12 years, we ran out of excuses. It's time to make history in Livingston Parish. Give the people what they want. They want zoning. Each and every one of us that's politics on protecting their land rights, and this is time to do it. It's the first phase. You got to start somewhere. You can't keep kicking it. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Manga, Councilman Mangus has something to say.
One thing I received, and I appreciate what you said, Mr. Coates. I received 3 phone calls today that I took. I'm sure I had more because phones were ringing from district members that live in district, residents that live in District 8 now, and they thought they lived in District 6. So District 6 is, as we know, unzoned as of today. So District 6 people were allowed to go to any of or all of the 3 meetings. They could fill out cards. They could request zoning. So these residents had the opportunity to do that. For whatever reason, they didn't. And now they find out they're in 8 and they couldn't do that. So they will have a grace period and a time to change their zoning for free of charge. But they could have availed themselves at any of the 3 meetings. I had many residents of District 6 go to that. So that I don't believe that anybody was denied. Now, I will agree with you that I think there's too much R2. I think zoning can affect development, and if we have a parcel that's zoned R2 and there's not a landowner that put that in and wanted it, if it's just a recommended zoning, I don't think that should be, but that's not for tonight. I think the only R2, in my personal opinion, the only, as Mr. Goff would say, in my world, R2 should only be where R2 already is. I would want, and I will argue vehemently, for R2 to be part of a larger development. Never a single subdivision that's all R2. I think that's a problem. So that's something I will work on. Thank you.
All right,
Mr. Chairman.
1 second. Mr. Wascom was up next.
If I'm not mistaken, this is item 15, and this is rescinding and reenact 117 zoning for the adoption of new parish zoning map. So this is dealing strictly with the problem that Mr. Coates talked about, was the zoning, after the districts changed, then that. So what this does, if I'm not mistaken, is just verifies that the zoning for the new districts. Is that correct? So if that being the case, I mean, this has to be done either way. I mean, we have to put the current zoning with the current district. So, I mean, if I'm not saying that those people don't need a chance to speak, but we've got to make that zoning correct. So, and then if we make it, then they can make some changes. If we don't, they're still in what they thought couldn't be changed. So, I don't know. I just think we should move forward with this and get this part done, and then we could maybe pick up changing it in item 16 or 17.
Okay. Mr. Coates, can Ms. Light go?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to also let y'all know, as you saw tonight, we have started rezoning property with people who have come in to request it. Also, President Delat has stated we're going to do everything we can to make this as easy for the residents who do need to get their properties rezoned. If it means we have to have more than 1 meeting a month, that's what we'll do. But we're going to do everything we can do by waiving the fees and also accommodating meeting-wise, however many we need, to try to make this as painless and transitional as possible for them.
Thank you. Councilman Coates.
Sorry. So as Mr. Wascom was saying, I just want to point this out to him. This isn't a District 8, District 6. this is still District 8. This is Highway 63 right here. Highway 63 in the last administration went all the way to the east side there. Okay? And then it came down over here, north of French Settlement, and encompassed all that area. So it's not just going from District 8 to District 6. This doesn't even take in all of District 8 that was in place at that time.
But this ordinance would make that change, make it correct, wouldn't it? I mean, it would model what the new districts show for the current zoning, for the zoning.
Yes, it just wouldn't have allowed the people to come and speak on it prior
I mean, would they still have that chance though? But this is just clerical work. I mean, it just says that, okay, this is the district for the zoning for that area.
I don't want to beat it to death. I mean,
that's fine.
I know where
That's
we're going
fine.
with it. I just had to say what I had to
That's
say.
fine.
Okay. Ms. Sanford. Councilwoman Sanford.
Just for the sake of clarification, when Ms. Delat spoke of the rezonings that happened tonight, they happened in districts that are already zoned. I think that needs to be said. Districts 1, and correct me if I'm wrong, 7 and 8 are already zoned. The other districts, as of this current second, are not zoned. So just know that. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Goff, or Councilman Goff.
Thank you, sir. I was very adamant earlier today, and Mr. Steve, if I owe you an apology, I will, but we were in very heated discussions about this because in my world, as John likes to remind me, it's about the individual that is kind of lost in this redistricting of our council districts. So District 8 was 5 fingers before. When it got redistricted, it's 4 now. So this guy kind of got left out there and didn't get the right information to where he could make a decision of whether he wanted to change zoning or not. He was though that he was zoned and it was done. The thing that changed from me, and Mr. Coates and I discussed this a long time today, and I was on his side 100% and still am for the people that they should have the ability to make those changes. The difference for me is that Mr. Steve pointed out that this is, if you would like to say, is interim zoning. And basically what it does, it gets the finger back. So now everybody has 10 fingers. And everybody is zoned throughout the parish under the same umbrella. So once we accomplish that tonight, what I'm going to ask is for Mr. Nathan and them to reach out to these particular people that got lost in the shuffle. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's more in Mr. Coach's territory. To make an effort, extra effort, for those people to have their voice heard. So when it comes to the master plan, which is our absolute final zoning, the other key to this is we're going to try to make it as simple and easy as possible for our citizens and our constituents to make changes. Mr. Delat has agreed to waive the fee, so you just got to go through the process. And Ms. Dee and M have agreed to have multiple meetings to expedite your process. So this is a monumental step in this parish, in my opinion, that should have been done a long time ago. And I was an adversary for it then. I'm an adversary for it now. But at some point in time, we got to start the bus and get it moving. Right now, we're still pushing it to the line and couldn't get gas for it and everything. But we need to go ahead and get the bus started and get the real process going to where if somebody wants it their zone, they go through the process. You heard it here tonight. We'll do it. The gentleman that's back in the back will hear all of those. There'll be a lot of them. Y'all going to get tired of seeing it because it's going to go through the process. But we got to do what we got to do with that. So I just wanted to point out that we need to take care of these people, but we got to get it moving forward, and we got to get everybody under the same umbrella with the same 10 fingers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to adopt ordinance number
The amendment. Amendment 2.
Amendment to 24-35?
Got a
I'll second that motion.
Say that again, Caroline. All right, we've got a motion to adopt Amendment 2 by Councilman Wascom, second by Ricky Goff, and third by Ryan Shavers. Councilman Shavers, vote on your iPad. All right, that vote passed 8-1. The one no was Councilman Erdy. The yeas were District 1 through 8. Do I need to say everybody's name? No? Okay.
Big step, people. Big step.
Amendment 3. Ms. Caroline, can you read that?
Sure. Okay, this is very long, so
Yep,
please
and
be patient.
please be patient. This is long. Yes.
For amendment,
This is Amendment 3.
do you?
Mr. Steve, you can explain it in just a second. She's going to read it.
Okay. Amendment 3A. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 43 parcels in District 1, which did not previously have an established zoning designation. They were previously in another district in 2022, which did not receive any public comment against the recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. B. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 100 parcels in District 2, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comments against this recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. C. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 23 parcels in District 3, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comment against the recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. This includes the, didn't mean to read that. D. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 55 parcels in District 4, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comment against the recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. E. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 144 parcels in District 5, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comments against the recommendation, and are which in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. F. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 133 parcels in District 6, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comments against this recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. G. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 135 parcels in District 7, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comment against this recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. H. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 1,057 parcels in District 8, which did not previously have any established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comment against the recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant. I. An amendment is proposed to adopt changes recommended by the council's consultant to 364 parcels in District 9, which did not previously have an established zoning designation, which did not receive any public comment against this recommendation, and which are in line with the best practices considered by the consultant.
Thank you for that, Ms. Caroline. I am now going to open the floor for public comment.
David Henskins, Eric Tong, Stacy and Wade Milton,
Good evening, council. Thank you.
State your name and address, please.
My name is Wade Milton. I live at 7928 Bell Helene Drive in Denham Springs. Y'all are not familiar with that area. It is Plantation State subdivision. I've lived in that neighborhood for most of my life, since the age of 14, and I'm here tonight to discuss some recent proposed zoning changes that have taken place on a piece of property I own on 4H Club Road. Part of this acreage, when I purchased it almost 10 years ago, included the last 2 lots of Greenleaf subdivision, along with the servitude access between those 2 lots to access my remaining acreage. At that time, we stubbed up gas, sewer at that time for my property. I bought this property 10 years ago as an investment with a plan for my family, my daughters, to have 2 lots to move to in Greenleaf's neighborhood if they chose. I have maintained this property for the past 10 years for my family with the option to live on it myself, because I told you where I live, I also have R2 coming behind my home. Until this happened, I had no intention of doing anything other than just clearing my property. I'm not a developer. I've never been a developer. If I really wanted to develop property, I don't think I would have waited to this portion to try to develop a piece of property. I perceive the situation where I've had no say-so in what's going on with my property. I can provide a timeline showing that where I was reading maps that showed my property was still proposed as R2 on February the 5th. And if the thing closed on February the 7th, I think, how would I have time to comment? In closing, all I would like to say is I don't want to do anything less than anybody's property that I'm touching. I am not trying to hurt any of my neighbors. What I am looking for is something just like I have the homeowners that I'm bordering. And I appreciate y'all's time and consideration. I'd like for my wife to speak now.
Hi, my name is Stacy Milton. I live at 7928 Bell Helene Drive in Denham Springs with him. I just want to add a little bit to what Wade said. I've been a resident of this parish for 32 years since we've been married. I moved into Livingston Parish, and at the time they said, "You're moving into God's country." Yes. I've devoted my life to the school system. I've started as an elementary teacher, a librarian, an assistant principal, an elementary principal. I was Caroline's, actually. I see her there. And now I'm an elementary supervisor, looking towards the end. I love our school system, and I love this parish. For the 10 years that I was an elementary principal, I was actually served at 7th Ward Elementary, which is the elementary school in the district where our property is, in District 5. So at the time when I was principal, there were several, just a handful of children that lived in Greenleaves, which is the neighborhood that borders our property. And if there's anyone in here from that neighborhood, you know, I just want you, and Wade and I just want you to know that we never would want to do anything to devalue anyone's home, anyone's property, and we are only asking to do what we feel is right. The reason why we're here is because of the proposed zoning for our property. And as Wade said, it has been changed. We counted 4 times. From R2 to Ag to R1 to R2 back, you know, so now it's being proposed as R1. And we're only asking that you guys consider zoning the property as R2 because it was part of an original tract of land that borders Greenleaves and Nickens Lake, which are currently proposed as R2. As he said, we don't have any plans to do anything, but this property we bought as an investment. We bought for our children, and there's a substantial difference economic value in what this property is zoned as. We don't have any plans to do it now. And as I, was saying, anybody who is our neighbor, we have property in that lot, in Greenleaves, we would never do anything to try to devalue that. So thank you so much for your time and for listening to us.
Thank you. Councilman.
Yeah. I wanted to say thank you very much. Thank you for your service to the
You're
parish,
welcome.
the school
I've loved
board.
every minute of it,
Yes.
even the bad times.
Good. One thing I wanted to mention and give thanks to WSP for all they did, but as Ms. Caroline greatly read, zoning would be determined by best practices as considered by a consultant. And that's what we're doing for this first phase. As a councilman, as a Livingston Parish resident, as a school board employee, I would say best practices considered by a landowner. So you can adjust your zoning for free. We just have to get through this first phase. So thank you for coming here and being involved. Even if everything's R1 or ag around you, you can submit it and hopefully it'll be approved as R2 if that's what you wish. Even if it's
next to R2.
Right. then most likely best practices would say that. But
so can I ask the process this evening, because it's everybody I think is a little, so you guys are planning on voting on the proposed zoning map tonight? Is that correct?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But that does not mean it's an official and it's an ironclad zone, so please don't start suing. There's a long time to adjust it, and it will be for free. One of the big things is if we don't get zoning in tonight, there's a chance, with all the advertising that Mr. Irvin said, the moratorium could end. And if the moratorium ends, then none of us have any protection. So that's why.
I wanted to ask.
Thank you.
How many acres is it?
47 acres. 46.
Point something.
Which includes the last two lots. I have a map showing exactly where I have it. It shows
Sure.
the servitude.
Let me go get them.
That's all.
And again,
that map, and just how many acres?
It's 46 acres total. 46
Okay.
and some change.
And it's off of 4-H Club Road.
Yes, sir. Sitting
Okay.
right next to Greenleaf neighborhood.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
At the back part of the property is adjacent to Nickens Lake as well.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
That'll
you.
show what we've
Thank you
been
very
looking
much.
at. And again, when I called, I spoke with Natalie at the zoning office on the 5th. I had her send me a map. I had them send me a map. It showed me that my property was still in R2. Not that I even considered putting my property in R2. But I said, well, it's at least R2, so I don't have to worry about anything. It changed after y'all's meeting on the 7th. Then it changed 2 or 3 other times. It went from there to ag, back to R, and it still shows, if you look at the website, it's all proposed, and I understand all of that. But you can understand as a landowner who the evaluation of your monetary evaluation of your property is being judged by someone with zero, and they gave me zero input. I mean, I don't see how it would have been that hard to contact the landowners that are involved in this and let them put their input into it by letter. And if I missed it, I apologize. I build houses. I understand. So, but if I missed the date, I don't see how I could have when I looked at it on the 5th and saw that it was something that was acceptable for me to work. And then 2 days later, it was different. And then 2 days after that, it was different again. So I was told that I could not change it. There was no possible way to change it. That would be called spot zoning, and that's what I think the word was used. It was illegal. So
we're going to have a process for it where the parish president has waived the fees, so
no problem. I appreciate y'all's time tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Caroline?
Craig Corey? Sarah? Tom Easterly? No. All right, anyone else?
All right, is there anybody else? I'm going to close the floor. Councilman Shavers, do you want to speak?
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. Councilman Wascom, do you want to speak?
Yeah. Yes,
Councilman
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Would this be the time to pick up some changes in specific parcels that we could add to a motion to amend? Because I know I've got one, I think Mr. Mangus has one, I think Mr. Coates has one before the final adoption. Can we just make a motion to recommend changes
Mr.
for those,
Irving question.
those parcels, Mr. Steve?
What I'd suggest to you is go ahead and pass these, which we're treating as basically clerical amendments, and then when the as amended so far ordinance is on the floor
Tonight?
Tonight, when this as amended ordinance
Is that coming up in a later item on the agenda?
Yeah, you have a final.
Okay,
vote
all
on
right. I
this.
just didn't know if this was the right time to bring it up.
Yeah,
That's
but
fine.
It will after this series of amendments. If you have an amendment that you want to propose, then that would.
That's fine. Do you know what item that's going to be? Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Anybody else, Ms. Caroline? No, nobody else. Anybody else? Huh? Do we have a motion for this? Got a motion from Councilman Mangus.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Shavers. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimously. All right. Amendment 4. Nope. All right. No, that's for 125. All right. At this time, is there any other amendments that any councilman has for this?
This is what the one I'd like to bring up. I'd like to make a motion to amend this specific parcel number. And I'll tell you where it's at real quick. And if we could just approve this, then as the process goes, I mean, it'll save us a lot of time. Parcel 0069559. It's a parcel of land on Florida Boulevard and Jubin Road, right there in the corner, the same corner that Jubin Crossing is in, up toward 190, that whole 190 strip right there. It is going to be and is the economic engine of this parish. I mean, Jubin Crossing and Florida. It's the master plan shows all that as the commercial corridor of this parish, so it's going to fit the master plan. But for some reason, it stayed, I believe, agriculture, and it's not. We don't want cows and horses there. So I'd like to make a motion that we authorize them to change that to C1.
All right, I got a motion from Mr. Wascom, or Councilman Wascom, got a second from Councilman Shavers. I'm going to open the floor for public comment. Close the floor for public comment. Mr. Goff.
So I'm perfectly fine with the C1, but I'm not sure. Across the street is mixed use, I believe. Isn't that correct?
Mixed use is currently where Jubin Crossing is.
And the east side.
And so on your side as well. But this is on the west side, up
Right.
by 190.
I just want to make sure you wouldn't be. I guess what I'm saying is you have looked into the fact of mixed use and you would rather go with C1
Commercial
at this time.
is what we want.
Okay, thank you. That's
Ultimately, he wants commercial in the front and maybe mixed use in the back, but you can't do that unless it's already subdivided. Well, the property is not subdivided, so you can't zone the same parcel two different ways. So he just wants commercial for the whole tract.
I got you. Thank you.
And that fits for that area.
Councilwoman Sandifer.
Can we get a recommendation from the planners? I don't know.
Well, I guess we can.
So this property, as Councilman Wascom stated, we received a written comment for this property, and what was requested that the first couple hundred feet of the property off Florida would be rezoned to C1, and the rest of the property would remain ag. So as he stated, we can't split a parcel that requires an active, exactly, a subdivision. So this is not necessarily a spot zone. The entire east side of this property, which is up on Jubin, is already C1. So we don't believe that this would be a result of spot zone. The only comment I have is that this does not reflect existing conditions.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, Councilman Shavers.
I just have a question, not specifically about John's, but just in general with the changes. Do these need to go to the planning commission, and has the planning department looked at these? I mean, I'm not saying what anybody doing is wrong. I'm just saying, has this funneled through? Do these need to funnel through?
The proposed zoning map has been submitted to the Planning Commission. They've held a hearing on it, and that's their primary function actually is to hold the hearing. So it's within your prerogative to make this amendment. Apparently this is something that got caught in the you can't split a piece of property thing, and they now want to straighten that out. And
I'm good with it. I just want to make sure that the planning commission and the planning department, they're aware. But if it's all kosher, then I'm good.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Councilman Shavers. All right, if there's no other comment, Mr. Coates, Councilman Coates.
All right, I have a few properties that I'd like to add to that list as well.
Can we do them? We're going to do them one at a time. Is that okay? Somebody. John, I'm sorry, Mr. Shavers, you didn't second it. John Mangus, Councilman Mangus did. All right, if there's no other comment, let's vote on our iPad. That passed to a 8-1 vote. Councilwoman Sandiford voted no. All right. Councilman Coates.
Okay. We'll start with parcel number 237883.
237883.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is a R2 parcel. Excuse me. 883, that's an R2 parcel. That's 389 acres. I think that's a lot of density in District 8. So if we're doing them one at a time, I'd start with that one. It's going to be located on off of LA 63. Doesn't even touch the road in either of those spots.
How many do you have, Mr. Coates?
I have 4.
All right, let's do all 4 of them. So give the parcel number and...
All right. R2 to ag, because they're all bordering ag.
R2 to ag. 2788.
Okay.
All right, what's your
all
next
right, the next one is going to be 240168.
Okay.
I have 122275 and 12263.
May I ask a question? May I ask?
Yeah.
Yes, and all of those are R2 to ag.
May I ask a quick
They're
question?
all bordering ags.
Because I think I know what I've seen this. So there's nothing there right now. There's trees, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In
Okay.
that area. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's I'm with you on that.
All right. Got a motion by Mr. Coates. Second. Got a second by Councilman Wascom. Mr. Ricky Goff.
I have no problem with what you're trying to do. In Ricky's world, I stay up late, but I just want to caution us about making wholesale changes, because I've got a real strange feeling that the property owner hasn't requested this. unlike what Mr. Wascom did, property owner actually requested. I'm going to support it and vote for it because it's a lot of acreage that probably should be in agriculture. And maybe it was an oversight, but I don't know. So I guess my question is, did the property owner request it? And anyone else that is asking for adjustments, I would hope that the property owner would be the one that would be requesting that.
The property owner did not request this. This is timberland.
I understand.
You know,
I definitely understand the process. I just want to make sure that, like, we're making these changes. I could sit here and pull my map up and give you about 100 of them. But those property owners need to make that request. It's not going to cost them anything to do that. So that's the only thing I'm done.
President Randy Light.
Just a word of advice. I support Councilman Coates and what he's trying to do, but there's a large landowner that's threatening lawsuits if we take his land out of agriculture because of some businesses that wants to move in, and they may. I'm not saying this is one of them, but if there's the largest
If we took it
landowner
out
we
of
got,
agricultural? Okay.
something.
this is going in agriculture. This is
Okay. All right. I'm not against this motion. I just want to caution y'all that they have. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Not yet. Councilman Wascom.
I'll be very quick in regards to what Mr. Goff said. Ricky, I think it's important that we each understand that we're treading into new waters now with zoning. I think we as council members need to be willing to don't draw a hard line in the sand. And when we get a request from a council member, let's honor that. And then if by chance a property owner shows up and disagrees with the council member, then we can listen to it. We'll make a decision then. So let's just be willing to work in the future with zoning, and just don't be hard-nosed that we cannot change forever, because it is fluid. So let's just remember that.
We've already said that we will have changes, and we all know that there's going to be changes, and they can do it free of charge. Councilwoman Sandiford.
So to that, Mr. Wascom, this is brand new. We haven't heard from the property owner. I want to support you so much. I understand. I'm talking to Councilman Coates. It's too new, and would you be willing to defer it to the next agenda to pass it?
But if we defer it, then it's going to have to go through all of the.
Mike.
Well, but
Apologize.
we're using. I think I understand what President Delight was saying. And correct me if I'm wrong. What he was trying to say is we're potentially opening up a can that we might not be able to put back the lid back on. That's what I'm concerned about. I want to support you, but I want to know if the planners know anything about it. If you don't, that's okay. I just want to know if you know, and if you have any recommendation on it.
Mr. Irving.
Well, I'd like to say something to Mr. Irvin real quick. Also, Mr. Irvin, you said just a moment ago that when we're doing the zoning process, it's for the neighbors to have an input, not so much as the landowner. Didn't you just say that?
The reason that you do the rezoning process with the notices that go to the surrounding landowners is to give the surrounding landowners an opportunity to comment on the rezoning so they can have their due process rights. The landowner doesn't need to get notice because the landowner normally requests it. But if the parish rezones the property, then the landowner does need to get some notice from the parish. The concern that is being expressed with regard to this is some of these properties are zoned R2 or R whatever because they have existing zoning or existing plats. And we rigorously tried to avoid those situations. There are a number of them that if it was up to us and we didn't have that, the property would be zoned agricultural or R1, but we felt that we were hamstrung because of the existing zoning or the existing plat. And so we did not want to trip over that.
Okay, then I'll err on the side of caution and withdraw it.
All right. So that motion is Councilman Mangus has the floor.
Mr. Coates, I would advise you not to withdraw it, and the reason being is I looked at these maps a great deal. And the issue I have with some of R2, and I'm not against R2, I don't want to remove that. What I'm saying is these are lands that are agriculture. That's what they are now. They haven't been purchased by a developer. They have no plat to build, Coates or Mangusville. None of that is on there. We have just made a decision of zoning best practice to call it R2. No one asked for it. As Mr. Goff said very much, that did the owner ask for it to be ag? No one ever asked for it to be R2. Just WSP in this process decided it would be R2. So it can be switched back. This won't be a lawsuit. If somebody comes forward and says, hey, I thought it was going to be R2 and you made it ag, they can put it in to change it, right? If I'm wrong in this, please tell me. But I don't know. We have chosen to zone large portions of districts R2 without anyone requesting that.
If the property is unzoned and does not have an approved plat, in other words, this is the initial time that it's being zoned, then the proper process for it is to publish a zoning map as we did, consider, and after following the appropriate procedures, adopt the zoning map, and that gives the landowner notice. The concern is that three things. First of all, that there may be an existing plat for the property. Second, that there may be an existing zoning for the property, in which case you would be rezoning the property, which would require notice to the landowner and the surrounding landowners. And the third general possibility is that since the landowner hasn't been notified of this, if the landowner is relying upon the plat that has been published, then that has the potential for a landowner to raise a question about it. It is a serious issue, and it is being addressed with the master plan, because one of the issues in the master plan is, does Livingston Parish have all the R2 that it really needs already? And maybe there isn't any other R2 needed, or maybe in some districts it's needed, but in a lot of places it's not. And that's a serious issue in the master plan.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman Sheriff.
Well, I'm sorry.
You're good. So I just want to say this. I think oftentimes we get frustrated when, and look, I support you guys on whoever's got changes, but I think oftentimes we get frustrated when people bring last minute stuff to us. And for us to make these last minute changes, I just don't think it brings justice to anywheres. But I think we should go with what we got, adopt it, and let's make the changes at a later time.
Thank you.
I mean, again, I'm not saying you guys are wrong what you're doing. Let's get it adopted.
Yeah. Okay, Councilman Goff.
Okay, I'm just going to reiterate what we're talking about here. Y'all ready for this? I agree with Aaron. So what the issue here is, I told you is a good day in this parish. But this is good, healthy. This is good and healthy for our parish for us to discuss things like this and it be visible. But what I wanted to explain here is go back to again that you're proposing something that the property owner, only reason you're proposing because it's all woods. This gentleman is saying it's possible a plat that's out there. We don't know. We haven't notified your property owner. So all I'm saying is there's too many pieces of the puzzle that are not in place for us to make a good legal determination. And I know you rescinded it, and I feel that you're going to stay with that. I just want to make sure everyone out there understands. Mr. Wascom's thing was a request directly from that individual. We can do that right now because that was his request. I really wish he would have just proposed it to the ordinance and come through, but I feel that that's comfortable. But from that standpoint, there's too many unknown questions there for us to be able to make that.
I agree with you.
We set a precedent. So
I agree with you.
All right, Mr. Goff.
Thank you.
I thank you.
And the other thing that I would say is,
can you wait till I call upon you?
It was not currently zoned, and that was discovered with the paperwork that I showed everyone. It was in a non-zoned area.
And when you do the master plan, that property is probably going to be agriculture. And the master plan is going to have a direction of which way it's going to go.
Mr. Goff, I'm gonna need you to request to speak. Mr. Coates, I'm gonna need you to request to speak. You were up there, so do you need anything else? You rescind that motion. Okay. Councilman Mangus.
I apologize, Chairman.
Yes, I have. It's really two properties, but it's listed as 4 plats. One is, I think you'll be comfortable with me saying his name, Mr. Dale Com. He lives in Port Vincent. The very, very front of his property is in the village of Port Vincent, so we can't affect that. But the preponderance of his property is parcel number 202291, and he never requested it to be R1. It's ag. It's always been ag in his family for generations, and he wants it to remain ag. And I've been there, and there's lots of cows and horses.
So you have his blessing to make this ag?
Yes.
That is a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second by Councilman Wascom. Yes. I was going to open it for public comment. I'm going to open it for public comment. Close for public comment. I know you got to be able to type that in.
I'll do the next.
Got a second by Councilman Wascom. All right, vote on your iPad.
Thank you. I got one more second.
Okay, that amendment passed 7-2. The 2 noes would be Councilman Shavers and Councilwoman Sandiford. Sorry, Ms. Sandiford. Anybody else?
I have one more section. I've got property. I'll do it quick. 27457-1B 0519744 0274571C. Those are, the owner contacted me. The owner wishes them to be their ag, but he wants them to be C1. They are in an area that has C1 abutting it. He wants to just extend that. It is adjacent to the interstate and off of a South Satsuma Road.
All right, is that a motion?
Yes.
That's a motion by Councilman. That's a second by Mr. Wascom. I'm going to open the floor for public comment. Mr. Irving, you look like you want to have a public comment.
The concern about this one is that it may be a perfectly fine thing to do, but there isn't enough information available tonight to be sure. This is something that would be more appropriately deferred until we have the new master plan. This is not a situation in which it's being, the amendment is taking it to its current use. It's taking it to a new and completely different kind of use. And so we think the thing to do would be to defer it until, defer the issue until the consideration of the master plan.
Councilwoman Sanford.
I'm sorry, I don't want you to sit down yet. Should we rescind the vote that we just took based on what you just said?
I'll think about it.
Should we rescind the vote, the previous vote, based on what you just said?
No.
No? Okay. Thank you.
So your recommendation is to defer it, even though the land is owned by the same owner, and he's requested.
Right. A change to C1 is a serious change, and it probably should be considered in the light of the land use plan. This is not a change to its current use. The change would be zoning that would be a completely new use for it, and one that could have significant controversy. And so that's why we're saying, while it may be perfectly appropriate, We think the thing to do is to defer this until we have the new land use plan. The new land use plan may show this property as commercial.
When will the new land use plan be ready?
It will be available, we predict, by July. The WST are working on it.
If this landowner, if we do defer it, and this landowner wishes it to be rezoned, does he have to wait till July?
He does not. He can file an application to have the property rezoned at this time. It would be considered under the presently existing land use plan.
That'll be the third time he's done that, though. He filled out cards, even though he's in an unzoned district. He emailed, he had a meeting, and I'm bringing it up here. So
Okay.
I think you've had an ample opportunity to change it, but
He's
if
in
you
an
recommend to
unzoned-
defer it, I'll defer it. But, I mean, if you ask people to play by the rules, and they do that, and then it doesn't change, now you're just
Well, we're going to have a
making
whole
people
new.
not want to play.
But if his property is unzoned,
No, it's
should-
zoned ag.
okay.
It's already zoned ag. Well, it's not really zoned because it's District 6. So
Okay.
on the map, it's ag.
So you're rescinding?
Yes, I'm
All right.
rescinding.
Rescinding. Thank you. Is that it? Now, do I have a motion to adopt the amended ordinance as amended?
So moved.
Yes, read it by title. Make sure you turn your mic on, Miss Caroline. Audio just had whatever recording you.
All right. This is proposed ordinance 24-35, an ordinance to amend and reenact Chapter 117 of the Livingston Parish Code related to zoning of land to provide for additional zoning definitions and classifications, to enact zoning maps for council districts which do not have zoning maps, to amend and reenact zoning maps for council districts which have zoning maps, to update and improve the enforcement and administration of the parish zoning program, and to provide for non-conforming uses and require conditional use permits, creating a zoning classification for landfills and hazardous waste, and establish a procedure for waivers.
So I have a motion by Councilman Mangus, second by Councilman Wascom. Was that backwards? I think Councilman Wascom was the motion, Councilman Mangus was the second. Vote on your iPad.
Wait, hold.
What?
I was in the back for a moment. There was an amendment 4 to correct a couple of typographical errors. Okay. Just want to make sure we didn't skip it.
Thank you. That vote's passed unanimously. Mr. Randy
Yeah,
DeLatte, President Randy DeLatte.
Thank you. If y'all so care to, it would be very nice. This is very monumental. No other council did what y'all done. We would like to have a signing ceremony with the council and WFB and WBRZ, and that's be someone would provide a little reception. But you need to take credit for what y'all did. Y'all have done so, all 9 of y'all. It's very well deserving.
Thank you.
It took a long time, but y'all did it. Y'all did it.
We're on agenda 16. Will you read that for me?
This is proposed ordinance 24-36, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations of the Livingston Parish Code to add Section 125-2D to specify the classification and applicable procedure for classifications of subdivision applications and also add section 125-181 to provide standards for the placement of mobile homes on individual lots.
All right. Mr. Jerome,
Yeah. If you'd like me to give a few comments, I will. But
please
otherwise-
give your comments.
Otherwise, I'll just sit down. But what we're doing is revising the procedures to do subdivisions with improvements. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we abide by Louisiana Revised Statute 33-113 that says, in short, that if a plat is presented to the parish and the planning commission does not actually take consideration of that plat, then it's automatically approved. So what we want to do is formalize the proceedings for plat procedures. And what we're suggesting here is that we have a preliminary hearing with the developer at the very beginning, a pre-app meeting. We have all of the parish staff there, drainage, planning, roads, whoever is affected by a new subdivision. They give their input. We give the developer the parameters of the traffic study, the drainage study that he needs to prepare at that point in time. And then at a following date, once all that information is submitted to the parish, and we have defined what is a complete package, a complete application, then the 60-day clock starts, right? So what we're just trying to do is formalize that process, right? And I'm available for any questions if you'd like, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we do have Amendment A and B. Amendment A is an amendment to propose to correct a typographical error to Livingston Parish in section 125-181. And B is an amendment to propose to correct a typographical error in 9 lots in section 125-2. Can I get a motion on the amendments? Got a motion by Councilman Mangus, second by Councilman Goff. I'm gonna open the public comment on the amendments. No public comment on the amendments. Any comment from the council? None? Huh? Oh. Public hearing, I'm sorry. Public hearing, I'll open it for public hearing. Close the public hearing. We're gonna vote on the amendments themselves. Anybody get motion? Who made the motion? Motion by Councilman Mangus, second by Mr. Goff. Any comment? Hey, you two, down there. Can you vote on your iPad? I do want to say that this amendment did go through the ordinance committee. We both read through it and we sent it here. All right. Now, I need a motion to adopt this this ordinance amending chapter 125 as amended. I'm going to open it for public hearing now. Sarah Ferris?
Sarah Ferris, did you want to talk?
I really just needed to stand up because I've been sitting so long. Sarah Ferris, 19241 Plantation Trace Drive, Livingston, and I'm the vice chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. One thing I did want to note, so the way the process works now, Ms. Dee Dee can correct me if I'm wrong, we have a preliminary plat hearing that we typically vote at, and then we have a final plat hearing that we vote at. What this will do is eliminate the voting at the first meeting. So we did want to still provide for that public hearing. We've had a few instances of a developer receiving some feedback at that preliminary plat hearing that kind of caused them to go back and look at some things and adjust their plans. So we did still want to provide for that opportunity. So that's just wanted to make that clarification. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I'm going to close the public hearing.
I make a motion we adopt with amendments.
We- All right, got a motion by Councilman Golf, second by Councilman Shaver. Anybody on the council that? No? Miss Caroline, can you read that one more time?
This is proposed ordinance 24-36, an ordinance to amend Chapter 125 subdivision regulations of the Livingston Parish Code to add Section 125-2D to specify the classification and applicable procedure for classifications of subdivision applications, and also add Section 125-181 to provide standards for the placement of mobile homes on individual lots, as amended.
As amended. Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimously. All right, moving on to 17. Adopt the minutes for the regular meeting of Livingston Parish Council dated February 6, 2025.
I make that motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Golf, second by Councilman Mangus. All in favor, put it on your iPad. That passed unanimously. Introduction of ordinance, amend Article 2, number 18. I just want to, if anybody's leaving, Jubin is shut down and parts of Florida Boulevard's shut down right now. There was a big accident, so I'm just saying if you're going to go that direction, check your maps. I don't know. All right, Mrs. Carroll.
Yes, it was from what.
Please. Oh.
From what I understand, it's what I have on the app that's coming through at the development, the road construction in Jubin, accident, multi-car accident there. They even closed part of I-12. I don't know if I-12 is still closed there. And now there's a wreck on Florida Boulevard at Palmetto near Walker High, so Florida Boulevard is closed. That's not where we are, but yeah.
Yep. Okay, Miss Caroline, can you read?
Let's just stay here tonight.
Miss Caroline, can you read number 18? Yeah. All right, we're not introducing that. We pulled this. All right, oh, that's the noise ordinance. I'm sorry. Yeah, we pulled that. I'm sorry. Moving to number 19. Adopt a resolution to require an Attorney General's opinion regarding the appointment of members to standing committees of Livingston Parish Council, Mr. Ryan Shavers.
Yeah, this goes off from what we talked about last council meeting, where you guys or some of you are trying to put lay citizens on an ordinance committee, and I would just like to get an Attorney General's opinion on if that is legal.
Okay. Do I need to open that up for public comment? Huh? Does anybody want to speak on this? For or against? Close. Brad?
Yeah, so.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cassia.
That's okay. This question was posed to me as well. It's very common to have citizens be on advisory committees. That's a normal practice. I've looked around. I've never seen citizens be part of like an ordinance committee. So this is kind of uncharted territory from what I can tell. So I think it's smart.
Billy, are you still wanting to do that?
I would like to just get the Attorney General's opinion, because
Sure.
if it's the first one that's going to be pushed, let's see what they say. I don't think it can hurt. So is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Got a second. Got a motion from Mr. Shavers. Got a second from Mr. Mangus. Mr. John Wascom, you wants to speak?
Yeah, just a quick question, Mr. Shavers. If this Attorney General's opinion comes back and says, absolutely, it's fine, would you be in favor of it?
Sure, I'll even serve on it and stay as the chairman.
With as you call, lay people on there?
Citizens, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I will vote yes then.
Okay. Can we vote on the iPad? All right. Oh, she's where? Please vote on your iPad. Okay. That passed unanimously. Number 20.
But wait, I just want to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
Oh. I will say, if they would like to advise, there's probably 50, 40 seats out in the audience. They can advise from out there, you know. I mean, I'm just saying.
I appreciate it. Thank you. We're going to move on to number 20, adopt a resolution requesting DPW to install no turnaround and dead end signs on Henry Ballard Road located in Council District 9. Mr. Joe Erdy. I'm going to give this one to you, Mr. Joe.
Yeah, we tried, well, DPW did put a no outlet sign there, but I called from the citizens there, and it's still big trucks went in there and turned around and actually got stuck in the yard like freight truck. So I'm asking for a more stronger term to use, like no turnaround and dead end, and not worry about the no outlet anymore, because it's not doing any good. There's literally trucks of large sizes getting stuck there. So I'm just asking DPW to put some different signs up that has a stronger meaning to it.
Pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to open this up for public comment. Or public hearing. Nobody for public hearing. Close the floor. Got a motion from Mr. Erdy. Can I get a second by Ms. Councilman Golf? Anybody on the council? And vote on your iPad. Got a 8 yeas and 1 absent. Councilman Shavers. That passed. 21, adopt a resolution to increase the speed limit on Hood Road from 25 to 35 located in Council District 6. Councilman Mangus.
Yes, I had visited Mr. James Macklin, who lives on Hood Road, and I had a couple people from Hood Road that were here, and they left because the length of this meeting. But basically, there's never been an official speed limit on Hood Road. There was a group that came to the council before Mr. Ricks was our parish president that asked to have the speed limit changed to officially adopted at 35, and it wasn't. And then a gentleman went out and actually purchased signs. Well, they did approve to do it 35, but no signs were ever put up. A gentleman went out and put signs up that said 25, but when I checked, there never actually was speed limits. So I checked with several residents on Hood Road, and they are okay with the speed limit of 35. There are some areas there that you probably shouldn't do 35, but if you wish, you can. So
is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Got a motion from Councilman Mangus. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Got a second by Mr. Watts. He's pointing to me first. Councilman Watts.
Seconded.
Well, he actually pointed to me like he wanted it.
All right.
I'm going to open up for public hearing. Close public hearing. Councilwoman Sanford?
Who approved it to be 35 miles an hour?
It was back in the administration before Mr. Ricks. Mr. Macklin showed me some information on it. I don't have it with me. I apologize. But I did consult with Travis Tharp and Mr. Macklin and Mr. Jones, Christy Jones' husband, that all live on there, and they're okay with the 35.
Well, here's why I asked.
Mm-hmm.
It's a legal issue to change a speed limit. And I know that because I've had to call on law enforcement and DPW to help me with this before.
Mm-hmm.
So have you had any interaction with LPSO or DPW?
They haven't had any disagreement with it.
Have you had any interaction with them? Have you asked them?
Spoken with them, but yeah. They said it's not a problem.
Who?
I don't want to say the exact.
Oh,
word,
okay.
but.
Well, I just need that information.
Okay.
That's why I'm asking. Do you think that you could get Mr. Dugas to come and?
Yeah, he was here, but he's not here anymore. So, yeah.
Okay. Could you come help in case I need you? I asked the same question for a subdivision, and I had to call the sheriff's office to come and check the speed limit, and then I was told to just by somewhere in DPW.
Was it on a
after
state
that.
road?
No.
Okay. From what I've been told is that we can change the speed limit. We set the speed limit. Is that correct?
Okay.
It is set by ordinance and has to be voted on by the parish.
Yeah,
by the council.
I was told the same thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you for the clarification, everybody.
I was
I
gonna
appreciate
say,
it.
Once
I
it
believe
goes
this
in-
situation is similar to the school zone that we
Okay.
passed earlier, that I do think it needs to be by an ordinance so the law enforcement can actually enforce it. But the council has that authority to do so.
Okay, this is a resolution.
Well, I know Chairman's not here. Welcome back. But if I understood your statement is that it's on the books for 35 from years back. But somebody put up 25. So what is legally on there is 35 in our ordinances and approved and.
So what we're asking is for them to go put up the 35 mile an hour. speed limit
Yes.
signs.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. That's what I'm asking him to do, is to put up the 35 mile an hour
Mr. Chairman.
signs. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
And then
Billy
y'all could-
Taylor,
you
I
could just
apologize.
request that with
Yeah.
Public Works then,
Right.
since the
Okay.
ordinance is already there and on the.
There's already an ordinance already there to do
Yes.
that. Just request it through Public Works.
Right. And Mr. Macklin was upset because he felt that nobody ever listened to him, and it took a year before
did.
he would talk with me. So
You got
I would
the-
like to get this done so I have some goodwill
Okay,
back.
well, we've got a motion on the floor, and we've got a second. Vote. That passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Adopt a resolution to send a request to DOTD for a traffic study on the intersection of Courtney Road at LA Highway 449 North Corbin in Council District 1. Mr. Lonnie Watts. Councilman Lonnie Watts.
Yeah, it's a dangerous intersection there around the curve. There's a lot of school traffic just north of there that's coming through there. It's something that needs to be addressed. I mean, we got one just 3 miles up the road with the same, same circumstances. So I think it might save a life or two.
I'll make a motion for that.
Got a motion by Councilman Shavers. Got a second by Councilman Mangus. I'm going to open up for public hearing. Close public hearing. Anybody on the council? Councilman Wascom?
Lonnie, real quick, in your thoughts, what do you think they need? They need a speed reduction, or they need a light, or a four-way stop sign is what you're saying? Oh, so you want to add to that motion to request a four-way stop sign there instead of just doing a traffic study? Just request a four.
Yeah.
I mean, it's up to you, but I was just thinking we just.
That's the DOTD.
Oh, it's a state road.
That's what I'm saying. When he sends the request in.
If the stop sign is going to be on a state highway, then DOTD has to be involved in that.
Put request, instead of doing a traffic study, and also request a stop sign. Okay.
So will you amend, do you need to do a substitute motion? All right, change it, amend it? Okay. Okay. Huh? Put a stop sign on Courtney? Or on 447? On 449? Okay.
If I can add some clarification, the state has to do the traffic study, and whatever we request, they're going to turn us down or say, yes, we can do it. So John's right. If you wanted four-way stop signs or caution lights, that's what you got to ask for.
Okay. So, you got that? Okay. Anybody else? Vote on your iPad. That passed unanimously. Admin error. Number 23, adopt a resolution to request DPW to install a slow down child presence sign on the O'Neillian Lane in Council District 9. I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, as it says for itself, children present and the residents on that road would like a slow down type sign put there.
I second that.
Got a motion.
Motion.
Got a motion from Councilman Erdy, second by Councilman Shaver. I'm going to open up for public hearing. Close public hearing. Anybody on the council? Please vote on your iPad. That passed unanimously. 24, adopt a resolution to authorize a 1-year extension of a final site plan for Todd.
Corbier.
Yeah, okay. DeCorbier?
Is that right? De Corbier?
DeCorbier of a commercial development plat located at 28058 Jubin Road, Denham Springs, Louisiana. Councilman Goff.
Yes, basically this is an extension. The ordinance gives them the latitude to have the extension. You can only imagine why it's being delayed because of Jubin, interchange. It's right across the street from the church and the dental thing. So he just wants an extension. They're going to continue to move forward with it, but they're just waiting on the road. So it gets one extension only.
Okay.
So I just make sure I understand. So we're at a 2-year mark. We need to plats.
We're at a 1-year mark.
I see.
And he's actually over the 1-year mark. And I explained to him, that's a good point. I explained it to him that it's not going to go from a 1 year that we approve it tonight. It goes back and retroacts back. So
I got
it's
you.
really like a
I understand.
7-month extension.
Okay.
Mr. Light?
I just didn't know if you had any questions.
Okay. I'm going to open up for public hearing. Wait. Hold on, got a motion. Is that a motion? I'll get to you in a second. Is there a motion? Yes. Motion by
Yes,
Mr.
that's a
Goff.
motion.
Second, Mr. Shavers. Open for public hearing.
I guess this is probably a question, I don't know, maybe for Ms. Dede, but can it be done by resolution or does that have to be done by ordinance since it's technically kind of waiving what the law says?
So it's really just he has to come to the council to ask for that extension.
Right.
The ordinance states and gives him what latitude that he has. So the plat went through all the process and was approved, and he just has an extension piece of the ordinance there. So it should be able to be done, but it has to have the approval of the council.
But it's expired already.
Microphone.
Okay. I mean, I don't
turned it
have
off,
a
I'm
problem
sorry.
with what he's trying to do because we all know what the road situation
Yeah.
has been. I'm just concerned about the legality of it and doing it properly. That's all.
The first year was given to him. He has the ability to ask for a second one. It doesn't state in there when he can ask for it. So when he's asked for it, I've explained to him kind of what you're saying is that it retros back to when the original first year ended. So it's given an extension of 1 year from that time frame, and it'll end there. So he's got about 7 months, and then he has to start the process over.
All right, I'm going to close public hearing. Anybody on the council? Call for the vote. All right, we're going to do the vote. That passed unanimously. 25, adopt a resolution requiring DOTD to install no truck route sign going north and south at exit 19 Satsuma Koyel, located LA Interstate 12. Councilman Watts.
Well, that's a parish road, and we're trying to keep 18-wheelers off of it to maintain the stability and stuff like that. And a lot of them use it, especially going south. It's a nightmare if they turn and go south if they can't get out by the church. It's something we need to go with DOTD about putting some signs on the exit ramps, both, eastbound and westbound, before they ever get off, Or at least they pull up there and see if they can go straight across and get back on the interstate. And as far as enforcing it, you know, that's up to the sheriff's department, who else.
That's a motion?
You know, I think it's something that needs to be done.
That's a motion?
Make a motion.
That's a motion from Councilman Watts, second by Councilman Coates.
And I'd like to say something on that. Well, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna
sorry, I'm getting
open
out
it
of
for public hearing, and then I'll let you speak. Public hearing. Close public hearing. Councilman Coates.
Like Councilman Watts was saying, people get stuck on that area all the time when there's a crash on the interstate and they're diverting traffic, and the truckers don't know that they can't make that turn until they get to it. So, good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Coates. All right, Mr. Mangus. So, vote on your iPad. That passed unanimous. 26, adopt a resolution to add the following roads to the priority road list for consideration. Both of these are in Councilman Erdy's district. It's Jones Road and James Chapel Road South.
Yes, we've been putting Band-Aids on that road in my first year of office, and the residents there have really been pretty adamant about trying to get some more stringent work, such as an overlay or just more work done to their road, because we patch it up and we patch it up. So I just want to add that to the list. I want it for consideration.
I'll read it in a second. Yes, sir. I'm going to open up for public hearing. Close public hearing. That's a motion. Motion from... Oh, okay. We're going to add...
So I need to add to the priority list for consideration Live Oak Street, James Street, and Wesley Street in Denham Springs.
Did you get those?
You need me to say it again?
Microphone.
I would like to add Earl Cheney Road, and if possible, can DPW look at Earl Cheney? From what I understand from Mr. Martin that called me again today, thank you, Mr. Martin, that the road's not wide enough. So, like, the sides of it have fallen a little bit. So, if DPW can examine that. Thank you.
Councilman Wascom.
Thank you. I got a email list today from the mayor of Denham Springs, Mr. Gerard Landry, and I have probably already put most of these roads on there, but I guess it's the list that he's been compiling, and I just like to read through them, and then if some of those are already on the list, saying you just don't double them up, but if they're not, just add them to it. Secret Garden, Geraldine Drive, Sullivan Street, Walnut Street, Summer Street.
I'm going to need you to slow that down. She's trying to write this down.
You'll
Okay.
get it on the recording.
Okay.
Summer Street, East Street, Glenbrook Drive, Garrigue Street, Brett, Kennedy, Patricia, Meadowbrook Boulevard, Westfield, and South College. And this would be pretty much, that was kind of our summary of the 25, 26 road list when it comes out.
So the whole town of Denham?
That's just the city limits. Wait till I get outside. So yeah, but look, half of those are probably already on the list. So I'm just letting you know.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else? Councilwoman
I'm sorry.
and Councilman Dean? Coates, you want to vote? Yes. That passed unanimous. All right, 27. Board recommendation, board appointments and recommendations, Recreation District 5 South. Councilman Mangus and Councilman Coates.
I am not going to appoint anybody right now. My two that I'm going to appoint, they want to have a meeting. So we're having a meeting at my house.
Okay.
So.
Mr. Coates.
Okay, well, I have Aaron Guitro and Richard McCoy, that we're looking to get on there.
Okay. Is it a motion?
I'll
That's a
second
motion from Councilman Coates, second by Councilman Shavers. I'm going to open up for public hearing. Close public hearing. Comment from the council. Please vote. That passed unanimous. 28 committee reports. I actually want to jump real quick into this. Since we only have 2 people on the ordinance committee, Councilman Mangus has said that he would be interested in going on that, so I'm going to appoint Councilman Mangus on that committee.
I may have another council member that I'm working on, but I'll let you know.
Would you let me know, and we'll go from there. All right, so thank you for your sacrifice. All right, Finance Committee.
So we had a finance meeting earlier today, a lot earlier, long meeting. So we went over the finances, and one of the suggestions there was Recreation District number 7 has $100,000-something in the bank, and they want to do, for lack of a better explanation, an audit. It's not really an audit, but it's an accountant that comes in and kind of looks at the books because it was shut down in 2018. There the gentleman is. So it was the finance's recommendation that we approve the $3,000 expenditure to have this process done.
From the
Recreation District. Yes,
funds.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
And we have the signing ability on that account right now. And basically what it is for is to look at it from where it was at when it was closed down to now and make sure all of the numbers are where they need to be. And
So-
then there'll be some more process on.
Do we need to do a
what's going
resolution?
on. Yes, a resolution, please.
Will you make a resolution?
A resolution to, a motion for the resolution to approve the expenditures for District 7 complication.
All right, I got a motion from Councilman Goff, second by Councilman Watts. I'm going to open up for public hearing on that. Close public hearing. Council? Got Councilman Coates that wants to speak.
Okay, so you're wanting to do what with the $3,000?
The $3,000 is, for the lack of a better explanation, it's an audit on the books. Mr. Mickey can kind of explain it.
Okay.
It's not an auditor and auditing, but it's a verification of funds. Go ahead.
Understood.
So these funds have been nothing happening for years and years, and we've had nothing to do with it. Now it rests with us, and we have a due diligence to go back and make sure that nothing happened with those funds that should not have happened. So.
Thank you, Mr. Coates. Thank you, Mr. Mickey. We're going to vote.
One other thing.
Infrastructure Committee?
Mr.
That passed unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I have one other thing on finance, and then
Oh,
I'll go
one more
right on
thing?
into the infrastructure part of it. On the finance committee, what we have asked, and if anyone has any particular questions once we get into this, what we have asked for the finance director, and Mr. Delat has given his blessing, is for a transparency type thing and to understand the budget, mainly for the people to understand as well. Everybody up here, I think, realizes how complex our budget is, with grants coming in, grants going out, and us having to float a lot of that stuff as well. So what we're going to do at each finance committee is just take like the general fund first, and then we'll go in a lot of details at that finance meeting. It's going to have its own meeting. It's not going to be pre of a council meeting. It's going to be on its own day. So it'll be televised so people can do that. Then we're just going to go to the next item. So when you pull it up on the legislative auditor, or you look at the budget, if you get a copy of the budget, those meetings will be in sequence as well. So you can actually go back and look at those videos and kind of follow along. And hopefully we can enlighten, educate, be more transparent to the people of the physical dollars, but also how complex the budget is and money and everything. The infrastructure committee will be meeting. I'll send that out. It's I'm pretty sure we tentatively are looking at Monday, the 3rd. Is that correct? No. When is it?
No, it's on the agenda.
Okay. I'll get with them and we're going to have a meeting the very first part of March, and that is going to be somewhat just a real quick overview of what I feel our goals and things need to be, and to try to come up maybe with some select solutions. I like to say make a plan, work a plan, and that's kind of what we feel that this committee needs to do at this point, is really look at all of our things that we need to do and not consider money, consider solutions. And then that way we can continue to come up with plans and something that not just this council can get behind or this parish president, but the next one and the next one and the next one. So make a plan, and I'm talking about like a short, middle, and long range plan. So that's kind of what we're going to do, and I think those are going to be very enlightening and open for the public to get to realize what it takes to just simply to put a roundabout in, much less other things. So
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Ordinance Committee.
We are going to be meeting, so we had to have 2 meetings in a row because of this specific ordinance, but we are going to be meeting on March 4th. Oh, what is that, Mardi Gras?
Mardi Gras.
Then we'll have a meeting on the 11th.
Okay.
Council week is the 13th.
Planning Commission, so it's going to have to be this.
I'm trying to do ordinance before the council the week before. Huh? So let's do March 11th, and then we're going to hold another one on the 18th. That week of the 18th is council week, right? Okay, then we'll be back on schedule. Then we'll have the next one. Yep.
And then we'll get it on a consistent schedule.
Correct.
And that'll be 5:30, Mr. Shivers?
5:30.
5:30. Okay. 29, District Attorney's Report.
Yeah, I just want to take a second to commend you guys and the parish president and the administration for the hard work you guys put in. You know, especially tonight, we see it with zoning, animal control. You guys have taken a lot of big steps, a lot of which have been first steps. And like Mr. Trey Cow told me one time when we talk about when things are first, it's never been done. He said, why not Livingston? And I think that's been shown tonight. So just thank y'all for what y'all do.
Thank you.
Mr.
President
Chairman,
Derline?
yes, before
Yes,
you
sir.
get in council comments, I'm still giddy. To echo what y'all have done is outstanding. I need a day that y'all can do it this week, this ceremony. And we'd like to do it in Livingston Parish Chambers. Everybody gets a pen, everybody gets to sign it. And so y'all give that date and time to your clerk. She'll pass it on and we get it scheduled. And again, thank y'all so much, guys.
Will do. Thank you. Council member comments.
Ooh, I want to go first.
Ooh. Press your I want to speak button.
So we have a litter pickup coming up in Watson. It's going to be, I've been volunteering picking up garbage in my community since 2019. So we have that coming up on the 22nd of March. Love the Boot Week is April 5th through the 13th. And you can register your events online through keeplouisianabeautiful.org. I suggest council members, please do it. It's a really good thing to do. Clay Shoots finally got on board. He's starting to clean up St. Helena Parish, and he's doing a fantastic job. So, anyways, I just wanted to let y'all know that.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman Shevers.
One more thing. I'm going to have to call on my daughter in the stands. We have our Spring Festival, Hungarian Festival. What is that? April 5th. It's every year. It's an all-day event with vendors. and food and Hungarian dancing at the Hungarian Presbyterian Church every spring. So it'd be April the 5th this year.
Awesome.
So keep that in mind, please.
Councilman Coates?
All right, on the 8th of March, Black Lake Club will be having their Customer Appreciation Day. If you've never been there, it is a really, really good time. There's cracklings, there's hog roasts, there's all kinds of stuff going on for the customers. So if you've never been to it, definitely go out there. It's a really good time.
What time?
Starts at 3 and goes to the last person leaves.
Anybody else?
Are you in the
Okay.
running for the last person?
All right.
I doubt that.
The motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Got a motion from Councilman Wascom. I'm not Wascom. Watts, and then Councilwoman from Councilwoman Sanford. All in favor, say aye.